Welcome to Tent Talk, the podcast with Nancy McCready, where we talk about life under the big tent of God's presence and the provoking process of discipleship. Here we go.
Today is one of those days that I consider a bit of a holding pattern in our podcast episodes here on Tent Talk. I'm thinking about a series that I want to do on putting love in right order, creature worship, recognizing how much pain and agony comes from just simply being out of order, and how much the Father wants to put us in order so that we can move more succinctly and more sharply in the days ahead. So today's episode is one of those holding patterns, because I'm not yet ready to release that series. I'm not yet fully integrated back in from having traveled recently, meaning there's so much going on during re-entry. So many conversations, so many tasks to be done. And when you are the only one in the office, it's a beautiful thing, because you can do it in your own way, in your own timing, and to others it might look quite messy, but to you it's a part of your flow. But also it means that you've got to really think ahead and plan out. And there comes this moment when you've been in a holding pattern with making some decisions, and then you realize, now's the time. Have to do it. And I love taking massive imperfect action, which was something I learned when we were very first launching NMM, and it helped me so much, because there's nothing quite like perfectionism to bring on procrastination, which means that you're tangling yourself up in many things that are just not necessary. And so I thought, well, if I'm in a holding pattern, then I'll just talk about being in a holding pattern, because that's so much of how things unfold with us here on Tent Talk. Is we're in real life, and it is real-time engagement, real-time conversations, the growth process, the things that we need to be aware of under the big tent of God's presence. And so in this holding pattern today, which is production day for me here at the NMM office, so I somewhat closed myself off, no specific appointments, many conversations, many emails, many prep for emails that are going out, much mature communication, very clear, very succinct. And so today, if you're listening to this in real time, in this holding pattern, because you're in that tension of in between major projects, and you're in lots of preparation, a little bit of limbo on certain things. But I've decided that today I'm going to do a live. So if you're listening in real time, there'll be a live today on the Producers Way Facebook group, which is a private group, but there's nothing to do except join. There's no money talk. There's no selling, which we try to never do any selling here at NMM. But what I mean is that we're not in that group using it as a soft launch to get you to buy things or to sign up for other things. It's simply a private group of producers where we are able to get together periodically. And so I hadn't been able to do anything there for a while, and today I am on a part of what it means to be a load-bearing person. Because the closer that we get to opening the doors to Oxford on all levels and all locations in February, from February 1 to February 28th, it will be Oxford. And so in all of that preparation, I'm revisiting again the importance of the preparation for those who will be load-bearing people, because a part of the definition of Oxford is the ford in the river where the oxen who were carrying all those building materials for the new thing they were about to build, they had to have a low place in the river to be able to cross over. It's a place of great humility, a place where we humble ourselves so that the Father can teach us, whether we've been with Him for 2 years, 20 years, that every one of us is at a place where we need to go low. And we need to recognize how the enemy is ever seeking to destroy us, ever seeking to kill, ever working to steal. He's such a thief. But he can only do all those things with our full cooperation. And so this is a time of great preparation. This is not time for perfection. Nobody's expecting anybody to be perfect. But we do want to put a demand upon the real life of Christ in people. So let's be real. Let's be, telling the truth. Let's be bringing things forward. Let's really step into that. And so as I prepare for this live today, and I'm also going to be videoing the next episode of the Producers Podcast, which is our third podcast. There's been a bit of a delay today in the dropping of the devotional podcast because of the platforms themselves are having some technical issue. So there are just many things going on in this holding pattern day where we're circling preparation on many things and not yet ready again to fully release a series or to start a series, and assessing several things, not letting certain things distract us or take up our time when they can be better dealt with a bit later. All of those things, that's a part of all those moving parts as you mature. So a part of that preparation for the live today, I'm revisiting some of my notes from a vault event that we did a while back. And I'm just put into the remembrance that I myself, now I do remember this often, but it's like, I myself am a load-bearing person. And I'm stretching and going into new places to carry more weight. And so it's very necessary for me, for all of us, that we stay with Him, because some of the characteristics of being a load-bearing person, where can weight be put upon you, and what it means to faithfully discharge the work that doesn't actually belong to you, it belongs to another. Can you be found faithful over that which belongs to another? And therefore, that's a deep part of preparation of stepping into your own work when you will be that lead and you will be the one responsible for, that which the Father has given you. And so much of that is learned when you're learning what's necessary in being faithful over what belongs to someone else. So some of the characteristics, just in this holding pattern episode, some of the characteristics of a load-bearing person is you're a forever learner. You're always learning. But hopefully that does not mean that you keep this as an excuse in your back pocket to pull out. Because if you're making the same mistake, committing the same sin again and again and again, with knowing that you're doing it, then that's what we would call weaponized incompetence, is you're expecting others to take up the slack because you won't take up the weight and really mature. All right, there we go. What's another characteristic is you're not a status quo person. You're not just looking to maintain. You are someone who's going to walk in great courage that comes out of the deep conviction that you have. You're going to be a mature communicator. Learning mature communications is a true and necessary skill. I'm ever learning that. You're going to be someone who understands if you're working the midnight shift, what we call around here the midnight to 6 a.m. shift, which means it's really dark. So you're going to see a lot of creepy crawly stuff. You have to get over your stuff. You have to, and in doing so, that means that you understand that if you are going to allow the deep crucifixion of self inside of you, then you're not going to be going around expecting everybody else to be perfect if you've already learned that you can't be perfect. But you are allowing your preparation to come in such a way that you see that if you've realized you were not called to perform all these things, then you realize nor were any of the other humans that you're around. This is a part of slaughtering creature worship. That's the series that I'm working on. Working the night shift is an honor and a privilege, but it is stout because you're in preparation before the sun comes up at 6 a.m. when lots of other people are going to begin to awaken. But those working the midnight to 6 a.m. shift are going to have to face many things about themselves, and therefore how they're going to be able to carry the weight of seeing the true condition of others. So, it's also part of the characteristic of a load-bearing person is that you are not living self-indulgent, therefore you are not self-rewarding for sacrifices that you required of yourself. You've martyred yourself. You've required things of yourself, maybe out of a religious mindset, maybe out of old fleshly thinking. And so, because you work so hard and nobody appreciates you, then you reward yourself. Well, that's because you required it of yourself. No one else required that of you, right? So these are some really powerful things that we have to address, and I felt it was a good time to pull some of this out because I know many of you are coming to Oxford. Some of you have chosen not to. Some of you may not even know yet what Oxford is, right? But let me just close saying this, that one of the key elements that the Father keeps bringing up to me again and again and again is that this is an internal, interior work of maturing and developing the life of Christ in us. Just like it's not necessary to memorize Scripture, it would be better to internalize the Word, because He's speaking it to you and it's living. It becomes deeply ingrained within you because it's now a part of the way that you live. It's not just the externals of I've got to memorize this, I've got to remember these principles, I'm supposed to behave this way when I'm with these people, make sure you watch this, make sure, that's all, you're all self-harnessed. That's going to wear you out. We are those who live in the internal harness, the internal abiding oneness with Holy Spirit, who is absolutely releasing the deep work and way of the cross within so that we might live as sons unto the Father through the life of Christ, the finished work of Christ. See, they're all involved. The whole Godhead is involved, right? So this internalizing is that this is a part of our life. This is how we live and conduct our business in newness of life. And so very key things. So I'm going to close out this holding pattern episode with that, inviting you to come into the Producer's Way today at noon Central Standard Time, 6 p.m. in the British Isles, 7 p.m. in Europe. And in other parts of the world, I'm not as adept. I think in Paraguay, it's 2 to 3 hours ahead of us. So it's either 2 or 3 p.m. in Paraguay. And on the East Coast, it would be 1 p.m. And so I hope to see you noon Central Standard Time today. we are going to go in and we are going to plow. We're going to be reminded of some things that can happen during holding patterns. Is that it's hold on. You're circling a few things, and the Father's reminding you of a few things because it's almost time then to land. It's almost time to step out into the new. And so we want to make sure that we are, allowing for the real work of that. And this is not a performance. This is about really building and really growing as a person. And you'll find that you'll definitely have to come out of the old to live in the new. All right? So I hope you're with me today at noon Central Standard Time. If you're not yet a private member of the Producer's Way Facebook group, please just go over there. Just click the join button and there you go. That's all there is to it. I have usually attempted to be there once a week doing a live, but travel and other things have preempted that. And with Oxford coming up, we're going to be looking at how we better serve the community that's walking with us deeply and intimately and intensely, but also continuing to reach out to those who don't even know that we exist. This is why we so appreciate you sharing the podcast, sharing our reels, sharing all of that across all platforms. This is all about getting the message out and people finding that there is a community, there is a place, a people who are very serious, not just about building a platform to promote themselves, but to build platforms so as to provoke and promote the real maturing of sons and discipling nations. All right? So there you have it for today. Thank you so much. I would love to hear from you. And as always, again, thank you. This is a listener-supported podcast. And the reason that we're able to do everything we do full-time is because of the deep generosity and partnership of all of those who financially stand with us. And we are expanding. We are in the scaling up of what the Father has promised us here at NMM. We pruned back and we are scaling up. And that means that it is getting far beyond me, my friends, because that's always been the plan. All right? So stay with us and we'll talk to you soon.
For more information on Nancy, please visit nancymccready.com or follow her on social media at NBMcCready.